Mohammed Talha is who I'd like to first invite, who's going to be talking about the use of forensic technology in investigating a fraud event. Talha, the stage is over to you.
Assalamu alaikum, respected audience. The unfortunate part today is that my uncover as an agent of a fraud investigator is over. So now I'm just open, my face is, you can see my face, I'm a fraud investigator. So let's start off by today's presentation. Today's presentation on use of forensic technology to detect fraud has 6 sections, which actually provides overview of evidence gathering in a fraud investigation, what is forensic technology, why we need forensic technology, and then I'll touch base on a very important concept, difference between backup and imaging. Then I'll walk you through about 5 stages basically, of the process of gathering electronic evidence. And then last but not the least, I'll discuss about a practical case example which I've handled myself as a fraud investigator to uncover allegations of fraud and misconduct by use of forensic technology. So, moving on to the first part, there are various means of gathering evidence in a fraud investigation. 1 is physical search and seizure. 2, digital evidence recovery. 3, interviews. 4, physical observation and surveillance. And last is corporate intelligence. How the evidence looks like in a digital crime scene. In a digital crime scene, the electronic evidence is available in laptops and desktops in the form of documents, financial records, log files, IM chat logs, internet history, emails, and most importantly, deleted files. We all have a concept in terms of if you delete anything from our system, it goes out from the system. Remember, it's not a window where you throw out your garbage out and it will be thrown out. It's a machine. You cannot delete anything from the system. It will be in the system. Apart from laptops and desktops, the electronic evidence is available in mobile phones. The mobile phones contain information such as contact details, SMS, MMS, and then the current phenomena of WhatsApp messages. And I'll just give you an example in terms of the recent LIBOR investigations in the UK was cracked just because of the instant messaging of WhatsApp being used by different traders in the Treasury Department to fix the LIBOR rates. The last area, which is also very important, is the information which is available in our IT servers. I'll just give you an example. If you open an email and delete it on the system itself, and if you don't archive that particular email in your systems, it gets deleted on the server. Even if you have retrieved information from the laptops, there still remains a risk that there are certain emails which have been deleted directly from the server. And same applies with the mobile phones. If you delete an email on your mobile phone directly, you don't archive it, it will be deleted on the server, not on your machine. In the IT server, if you look into, analyze the IT server contains system logs, usage logs, the IP addresses, emails, documents, and deleted files. Physical search is what was originally being used in investigations. In addition to these particular elements, these digital data sets are very important to investigate and substantiate any allegation. The internet also brings to mind investigating challenges regarding search. As a proactive measure, and in order to identify suspicious activities, the investigators review IT department's help desk system logs in order to identify individuals who have requested frequent hardware formatting. This is a very important element which requires to be seen. The companies usually provide laptops and smartphones to the employees for communication purposes. The ownership of these equipments remains with the company, and the company keeps the authority in terms of examining them whenever required. If they have suspicious of fraud or any suspicious activity, they can take these equipments from the employees. The suspects in these days, because of the automation, use emails and instant messaging to interact with third parties, as well as doing some kind of insider or conflict of interest kind of transaction by using instant messaging. So the question to ask is, what would be the search process and protocol when we search through our digital storage media? And what kind of tools and techniques are available which maintain the credibility of the information from its collection till processing? At this stage, we require assistance from the forensic technology experts. Now, I'll briefly discuss what is forensic technology. Forensic technology is collecting and preserving of electronic stored information. Forensic technology helps to collect, recover, and analyze digital evidence. Obtaining digital evidence mainly involves imaging of digital storage media and records on different data computing machines. I would certainly request you guys to just keep in mind imaging, which is being bold italic in this particular slide, because after the second slide, which I'll present, I'll speak in detail what this imaging and backup difference means. So, why, as a forensic investigator, I require forensic technology? Information universe is now large and at times immeasurable, often requiring specialized skills to access that information. Forensic technology helps in identification, preservation, production, retention, and disposition of information for regulatory and discovery matters. The review time can be reduced by more than 50% using automated review techniques, saving hundreds of dollars to the company. And the most important element, it reduces the risk because if you use forensic technology steps, we are using international better practice on one hand, and secondly, it's a forensically sound handling technique. Last but not the least, it serves as a bridge between law and technology. What is the difference between backup? Because most of the investigations which I conduct, most of the clients and most of our organizations are more confined that we have taken the backup of the suspect, please review that. We have taken the backup, our teams have accessed that particular backup, can you please review it? I certainly avoid taking backups if that have not been taken in a proper manner, and there are certain elements which needs to be considered in this regard. Backup is dumping of data files on some backup medium, such as USB, diskettes, or hard drives. Backup provides only copy of those files which existed at the time when the backup was taken. In case a file is accessed after the backup is taken, the date of modification can be used as a counter-argument during a case of fraud in front of the court of law. Accessed backup file, in my experience, are not acceptable in the court of law. Now, what is imaging? Imaging is the representation or reproduction of an object form. Imaging retrieves all data from machine, even if they were deleted. That's very, very important element. Imaging does not modify file creation dates. The imaging results are recorded in the encrypted form, which needs further processing. And that's what we will discuss in the later part of the presentation. Imaging is acceptable in the court of law. Now, the question arises how we do and gather an electronic evidence. The process of gathering electronic evidence is done in 5 stages, which is like gathering stage, processing stage, then we actually publish that particular data for reviewing, then we do the review, and then we finally prepare our reports. So, The stage one represents identification, preservation, and collection of digital storage media. At the time of collection of the digital storage media, it's a very, very important element that you take consent of the suspect and or the data owner, and sometimes that particular responsibility is being taken by the legal or compliance departments. In stage two, the digital storage media is imaged through forensic tools like FTK, InCase, and Linux. We don't work on the original. We make a copy of the image file and then process it. The processes require some additional forensic tools, which are Clearwell, Nuix, Relativity. This is becoming new these days. That is from the processing side of things. In stage three, the data is indexed and hosted for review for the investigator. The indexing is a very key step for the review. During the indexing phase, the data set is filtered in terms of review dates which are pertinent to the investigation, as well as we prepare data sets of certain files which are of utmost importance for us for investigation, which we normally call deleted files or deleted folders. Once that's being done, and I, as an investigator, receive the hosting of the data for the search, we review and make analysis on the data set. The investigator carry out detailed file system analysis, Microsoft registry file analysis, internet access and history analysis. Furthermore, there are certain elements as an investigators which we do, and we apply specific generic keywords to the set of data, and we run searches based on those specific and generic keyword searches. What I mean by specific keywords? Specific keywords can be name of alleged parties or individuals who are named in the allegation who are suspects. You may search, you can select Talha as a name, you can put it as a keyword in the system, and all files which have name Talha in it will pop up. That is very specific to the allegation. In addition to the specific allegation keyword searches, as an investigator, we also prepare generic keyword searches. Generic keyword searches have sometimes revealed fantastic results for investigators, and we have proved certain elements of bribery and corruption by running those generic keyword searches. What are generic keyword searches? Generic keyword searches can be share, commission, profit, and cars, deals. In some of the cases, we have run generic keyword searches as son, daughter, wife, husband. Because if you need to do some kind of a transaction, you don't want your name to be put into. So you ask a car for your son, or transfer in my wife's bank account number this. Even if it's not alleged, even if it's not specific, you'll get results. Once that particular phase is over, obviously the most important element in any investigation is to report the facts. So once we prepare any specific FTech review, which we call forensic technology review reports, which is part and parcel of a detailed investigation, we need to mention each step in details, what we have followed for the gathering, processing, indexing, and review phases, because that will, end of the day, will assist us in any cross-examinations in court of laws in terms of the reports which we prepare. Once that particular thing is over, we actually dump all the search results and retrieve them in a PDF folder. We print them, and we make it part of the exhibits to our report. Now, moving on to the last section of my presentation, I will discuss and share one of the major fraud cases which I handled in the UAE, in which there were no sufficient, or I must say no, documentary evidence was available in the records of the company to prove the allegation. So what was the case all about? I've conducted a fraud investigation into the accounting and business records of one of the largest property developers in the UAE, where the owner had concern over the mismanagement of the company by the CEO. Some of the key allegations in this regard were large disbursement of funds to certain companies by CEO, which had limited documentation. There was rotation of funds and squaring of bank positions at each month end. So when our auditors were reviewing the bank statement or the bank reconciliation, the opening and closing balances were the same, and there were no unreconciling items and conflict of interest. So what wonders forensic technology did for us? We have performed simple keyword searches on the name of the companies and property agents on the imaged hard drive of the CEO. And what I found trade license copies of companies owned by the CEO, large disbursement of funds to the above companies which were being owned by him. We also found Word format letters, letterheads, templates of companies owned by him. And then an important element comes in picture. There was a deleted Excel file which was retrieved during our imaging phase, and which actually includes and complete details in terms of the percentage being agreed by the CEO and the third party property agent in case of property sale, buyback and sale. When the property market was at boom, the price in the morning was 1,400 square feet per AD, and then in the evening the price was 1,600. So they were like doing it in that manner. And then there was several email communication between CEO and property agent on commission agreements between them. Just in order to conclude, forensic technology not only assists the fraud investigator in terms of uncovering any fraud even. It can serve as a value addition to the legal department in discovery management to ensure compliance with laws and regulation, to HR department in termination cases and in disciplinary action proceedings, by the IT department in intrusion analysis, investigating IT policy violations. Thank you very much.